Right, so I blocked Derrick Parrish while I was in Cheyenne, Wyoming. There's a reason for this. When my friends died, I didn't get to mourn. I got treated like shit because the people that I stayed with didn't know these people. They got expectations. When Janine died, I wasn't even allowed in the state that she lived in. So when Derrick's mom died, he got to mourn. He got to see his friends and his family. He wasn't being assaulted by the police. He didn't have random strangers coming up and trying to fucking beat on him. He keeps saying this, well, I loved you the only way I know how. I fed you. No, the fuck you didn't. I didn't need your food, Derrick. I made that hammer for JoJo. I didn't go there to give JoJo the hammer. The hammer was just an excuse. Because in 6 weeks, she couldn't find the time to keep her fucking word or even talk to me. Now, I unblocked Derrick to bitch him out today for being such a fucking piece of shit. He wanted to treat me like shit because his mother died. Well, I didn't kill his mother. She had a heart problem and she fucking died. It doesn't register to him that I cared about his mother too. Doesn't register in his fucking mind. It doesn't register in his mind that I don't get to see any of my loved ones. And they're all gonna die. Everybody that I know is gonna die someday. And all I can do is miss them. Until the day that they die, and then I miss them so much more. All these people who could have done something, while the Bollingers and their fucking cronies worked together, and the police worked together. I had people giving me pretty fucking words and blowing me off for a year and a half. Shannon Alvarado, if she'd have kept her word, to make a fucking report, then that shit that happened with Kara Johnson Miles could have been rectified before that bullshit went into my courtroom. Shannon Alvarado knew better. But she never made an effort. That's the problem with all these people saying it won't do any good. Well, of course it won't do any fucking good because you're too fucking stupid to try. Do you not realize if you make zero effort, then there is 0% chance of you succeeding? Unless what you are attempting to succeed at is doing nothing. And then you're not succeeding because you've succeeded in doing nothing. Does that make sense? No. It's completely fucking asinine. So then, Zack, he doesn't like what I have to type to Derrick. I wouldn't expect him to. Zack was going to stab a man right outside of the Starbucks on Pearl Street in Boulder, Colorado. He was coked out of his fucking gourd. The reason that Zack Mandryk isn't in prison right now for killing somebody is the same reason that Danny Mac is not in prison right now for killing someone. It's because I stood between them and their intended targets. Now, Zack, he hasn't bothered to find out what's going on, but he wants to tell me I need meds. Just like so many people, you need meds. Will meds make it so I can see my loved ones? Will meds make it so that I can go to Colorado or Nebraska and file a report against these police officers? Will medications get me an honest day in court? Will medications make it so that I can actually show evidence in a fucking court of law? Will medications get me a real fucking attorney? Will medications get charges pressed against Officer Lolatai? Of course, Zack wrapped it up by telling me to go kill myself and blocking me. Fuck you, Zack, you're a bitch. He said he never did coke or meth while he was in Colorado. That is not true. He did whatever he could get his fucking hands on. When he was fucking hooked for like 3 fucking weeks out of his fucking mind. It wasn't acid that made him so that he was out of his fucking mind. Although he did admit in this that he did acid. What was making him out of his fucking mind was that he was smoking so much meth. And at the end of that meth binge, he couldn't get any meth. So he snorted a bunch of coke and was gonna fucking stab some people. Aaron, the guy who killed himself at Starbucks. Or the guy who worked at Starbucks on the Pearl Street Mall and fucking killed himself. One of the people who he was afraid, this guy's huge. He's afraid to go out to the dumpster and dump the Starbucks garbage because of Zack in specific. Who was it that threatened this man's life? It was 2 homeless people. 2 homeless people that he had to kick out. And he hated kicking people out. I escorted people to the dumpster. All of the people who worked at Starbucks for years, I escorted them to the dumpster and back to the door every time they took out the garbage. Why? Because they were afraid of people like Zack. Not Zack Boatman, although people are afraid of him too. But they're afraid of Zack Boatman for different reasons. Zack Boatman's fucking huge and schizophrenic. Whereas Zack Mandryk is just schizophrenic. And manic. There's a big difference between freaking out for no fucking reason and freaking out because you're being abused and nobody cares. Jonathan Hickson, that's Maverick. That guy used to be a meth dealer, in specific, down there on Pearl Street. He's another one of the people who told me to go kill myself. So did Angela Kurzmal. So did Lexi Woods. I was trying hard to get someone to help, but they were too busy being assholes with their shitty assumptions and talking over me and not caring what it is I have to say. They're not listening to understand, they're listening to respond. These people don't know what it's like, and they don't care. When I treat them the way that I've been treated, because they didn't care, they sure as shit get pissed off. They tell me I need to let it go. Do they let it go? No. They fucking don't. They hold on to that shit. Derrick Parrish, between admitting that he did wrong and treating me like shit and playing like he's a fucking victim, he wants to play victim. Everybody does that. They don't keep their word. Then they play victim when I call them out on it. When I'm pissed off because I believed them. Because their help, the words that they gave me that they were going to do, could have helped me to defend myself. I invested so much time and so much money into believing these people. But they were full of shit. You goddamn right I speak out. Don't be such a fucking pussy. Then there's this Liz Gallardo lady who's supposed to work with Denver 7 News. She sent me a friend invite when Natalie disappeared. I don't think she's going to do shit. I think she's probably basically the same type of person as Jennifer Dejowski and that Josh feller who works for Mike Boudet. I think she's interested in ratings. I don't think she gives a fuck about the Constitution or the rights of others. When I said I needed somebody to go in with me, I meant it. People keep telling me to go do things that I can't. The term mentally ill makes it so that I need someone else to go in with me. Literally, I have to have somebody else with me, or they will not do their fucking jobs. They will blow me off and fucking abuse me. When they put me on suicide watch the second time there in Arapahoe County Jail, The officers who were pretending that I was suicidal were busy making fun of me and laughing at me the whole time that they were escorting me to the place where they put you when you're suicidal. If they honestly cared, if they were honestly afraid that I was suicidal, they wouldn't have been making fucking jokes. They wouldn't have been busy razzing and harassing me. Now, Derrick Parrish, he's a fucking filthy piece of shit. That story that I tell about how they went through the park and went through a whole minefield of meth heads to pull out the only people who were dealing with mushrooms and marijuana. Derrick Parrish was one of those people. Joanna Taylor Smith, his girlfriend, was another one. His mother, Janine Barrett, was another one of those 7 people. And then me and Natalie had one friend in common after that whole Virginia incident by the end of it all. His name is Day Day, and he was one of those 7 people. Day Day was the one fucking around with mushrooms. Nobody else was. There was probably 30 to 40 people down there selling meth on any given day. If it wasn't at the library or at the library park, it was over at Eben G. Fine or up on the Pearl Street Mall. And they went after the only 7 people who just messed with weed. So Derrick knows what it's like to get fucked. Joanna doesn't. Her mama bailed her out. Janine ended up pleading guilty, and so did Derrick. Were they guilty? No, they weren't guilty. But because Day Day folded, they were able to use that to prevent any of the rest of them from having an honest day in court. Day Day just returned to Colorado not too long ago. He was busted in California, and they transferred him to Colorado so that he could serve out his time for that offense, for that occasion. You're damn right I speak out. And I don't care if I do it illegally. I don't. I did it legally, and the legal didn't matter. Because of the term mentally ill, my rights were violated. Because I had nobody in my corner, they continued to be violated. Meanwhile, there's people like Derrick who don't want to admit that they ever did any wrong. He assaulted me for trying to get him to stop screaming at me for 3 days. Then he's telling me, well, I loved you the only way I knew how, by feeding you. Dude, I didn't go over there for your food. I went over there to talk to JoJo. I didn't go over there to get screamed at for 3 days straight. I went over there to talk to JoJo, to let her know what was going on, because she couldn't make the time. But if I made it there, then she would. So I made it there. Fuck you, Derrick Parrish. If your mom were alive today, she would be so ashamed of you. You didn't like it when it happened to you, but you turned a blind eye when it happened to me now, didn't you?